Welcome to the lesson. I'm teacher Katimbo Richard. In the previous lesson, we looked at fractions. We looked at the application of fractions. As you know, fractions are very wide. We are continuing with the same. We are looking at more of the application of fractions. And example number 1 today reads, a tank was 3/4 full of water. A tank was 3/4 full of water. When 30 liters were added, it became 5/6 full. How many liters of water does this tank hold when full? Now, first with a situation like this, there are key words you must look at, or key points. 1, you must ask yourself what happened to the 30 liters. It is stated very well that when 30 liters were added, it means 30 liters were actually added. Again, ask yourself what happens to the level of water when one adds on more water. Yes, what happens to the level of water when one adds on more water? Good. The level of water increases. Therefore, the new fraction, the 5/6, is greater than the 3/4. Now, I have to ascertain the fraction that was added. That's why you say, or start by saying fraction added. Much as you see the word added, this fraction added is going to be found by subtraction of the new level minus the original level. Like, for example, if you had 10 oranges and somebody added you some other oranges, and now you have got 15 oranges, how do you get the number of oranges that was added to you? Good. By subtraction of the 15 oranges you have now, minus what you had before the 10 oranges to have the 5 oranges. Likewise, get the new fraction minus the original fraction. So, fraction added is found by subtraction. So you say 5/6, which is the new level, minus the original level. So 5/6 minus 3/4. Get the LCM of the denominators 6 and 4. So LCM of 6 and 4 is 12. So you multiply 5/6 by 12 minus 3/4 times 12 out of 12. Now cancel, divide by 6 once, by 6, 2, by 4 once, by 4. That's 12 divided by 4, get 3. Out of the LCM, which is 12. Then you get 5 times 2 minus 3 times 3, which is the next step, out of 12. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 3 times 3 is 9, out of 12. 10 minus 9, you get 1 out of 12. This is the fraction that was added. A 12 was added. Now, we have learned from the question that 30 liters were added, and we have already ascertained the fraction that was added. It means that a 12, or one of the 12 parts, represents 30 liters. So that's what I've meant, that one part of the 12 represents 30 liters. What about the 12 parts, the whole? That's 12 times 30 liters. So 12 parts represent 30 liters. Therefore, the tank holds 360 liters when completely filled with any liquid. So today it is water. So that's how you work out that number. Then we go to example number 2. Example number 2 reads, a tank was 2/3 full of petrol. A tank was 2/3 full of petrol. When 50 liters of petrol were used, this time they were used, it became a quarter full. It became a quarter full. The question is, find the capacity of the tank when 1/3 full. Should be noted that in the first example, they were asking for a fully filled tank. But now they're asking for a fractional tank, that is 1/3 full of petrol. And again, in the first one, we looked at 30 liters being added, whereas in the second, 50 liters were used. What happens to the level of water when one uses, or to the level of any liquid? Like now, this case is petrol. When one uses some, good, it reduces. So it means now, today, the new level, or this time, the new level, which is a quarter, is far less than the original level. Like we found fraction added, like we shall find the fraction used this time. So the other one was found by subtraction, so is this one. You say fraction used. You get the new level minus, you get the original level minus the new level. The original level was 2/3. Right now, it is a quarter. You get 2/3 minus a quarter to get the fraction used. Why do we start with 2/3? Because the level of water reduced after somebody used some petrol. That's why the original level is the one we start with and take away the new level. Get 2/3 minus a quarter. The LCM happens to be 12 again. LCM is for denominators. A denominator is a digit under a given or below a given fraction. So the denominators we have are 3 and 4. The LCM 3 and 4 is also a 12. Get 2/3 times 12 minus a quarter times 12 out of the determined LCM 12. Then divide by 3 once. 12 divided by 3 is a 4. 4 divided by 4 is a 1. And 12 divided by 4 is a 3. Multiply the outcomes. 2 times 4 minus 1 times 3 out of 12. That is the step we have here. Then get the products. 2 times 4 is 8. Minus 1 times 3, get a 3 out of 12. Then get what is called the difference between 8 and 3. That is a 5 out of 12. The heading is fraction used. This heading must go in line with what was done to the figure given, 50 liters. What happened to 50 liters? They were used. That's why we say the fraction used. After getting the 5 out of 12, that one corresponds or means the 50 liters that were also done the same. They were used. That's what we say 5 of the 12 parts represent 50 liters. Like I've said, 5 parts represent 50 liters. 1 part represents 50 divided by 5 liters. So then you go to the 12 liters, which is the total, or that reflects the capacity of the tank when full. So the 12 parts represent the 50 out of 5 times 12 liters, or the meaning of 1 part times the 12 as a whole. So you divide 5 by 5 once, 50 by 5 and get 10. So 10 times 12, one gets 120 liters. So 120 liters, the capacity of the tank when full. But now, the question asked you for the capacity of the tank when 1/3 full. The full one, we have already ascertained it as 120 liters. Now, the content of the tank when 1/3 full, you get 1/3 times the 120 liters when it is actually full. So we say by 3 once, by 3 120, you get 40 liters. So this tank holds 40 liters when a third full. Remember, if the question were to say or to ask for the full or fully filled tank with this petrol, it would take in 120 liters. But now, a third of it is a third times 120 liters to get a 40-liter amount of petrol. So that's how this one is supposed to be answered. Or number 2 example must be answered. Then we turn to example number 3. Example 3, viewers says or reads, a man's salary was increased by 20% to 720,000 shillings. Read again. A man's salary was increased by 20% to 720,000 shillings. What was his salary before increment? We shall learn that percentages are also fractions. When you take 20%, for example, as a fraction is 20 out of 100. So it is another indirect fraction by saying percent. So, being that the man's salary was increased by 20%, what's the meaning of the word increase? The word increase means adding value to the existing quantity to get the new greater quantity. Therefore, the fact being that the man's salary was increased, it means it was less. Now, it is increased by 20% to this new salary, which is 720,000 shillings, thereby bringing an element of addition. What you do is to increase or add value to the original. What's the original percentage? Rahim? Good. It's 100%. Now, when somebody increases or adds 20%, he gets something greater than the original. So therefore, that's why the example starts like 100% plus 20% is equal to 120%. Why do I add? Because the word increase. What does it become after increase? That's the percentage. It has become 120%. Then what's the new salary? It is 720,000 shillings. So both are new. Which ones? The 120% as well as the 720,000 shillings. Why are they new? They are the result or as a result of increase. So after increasing the original percentage, which is 100%, by 20%, we have come up with 120,000 shillings. And you have learned from the question that the man's salary was increased by 20% to 720. So 720,000 shillings is the new one. So these two reflect each other. That's 120% and 720,000 shillings. That's why we say the after increase values in terms of percentage and money are equal. That's why we say 120% represents 720,000 shillings. Why are they reflecting each other? Both are the result after increase. So if 120% represents 720,000 shillings, what about a single percent? That's 1%. 1% represents 720,000 shillings divided by 120. What about the original? The original is 100%. So 100% will represent 720,000 shillings out of 120 times 100. Then you get what was being earned by this man before the increment. You are going to divide. That is via cancellation. We say 10 by 10, sorry, 120 by 10, you get 12. By 10, you get 72,000. Then 12 divided by 12 once. 72 divided by 12, you get 6. 0 by 12, 0. By 12, 0. 0 by 12, 0. And this is 0 as well. So this man was earning 600,000 shillings before increment. Does it make any sense? Yes. Why does it make sense then? He was earning a less value, which was 600,000 shillings, and now after increase, he is earning 720,000 shillings. So he must have earned less before, and then after increment, he must be earning a greater amount of money. So indeed, it was increased. So therefore, you conclude 600,000 shillings was this man's salary before the increment was made. That's how we work out that number as well. Having looked at the first three examples, we turn to example number 4, which reads, by selling a shirt, by selling a shirt at 28,000 shillings, Jane got a profit of 40%. Jane got a profit of 40%. How much had Jane bought this shirt? I read again. By selling a shirt at 28,000 shillings, Jane got a profit of 40%. Good. The question reads, how much had Jane bought this shirt? What you must know is that anyone cannot start by selling. We have got two kinds of prices here. We have got buying price as well as selling price. Now, which of the two is original? Or which one initiates one to own the commodity or into saying that this commodity is mine? It's actually the buying price. It's the original price. So, buying price is the same as original price. It's the same as market price. It's the same as market price. The same as cost price. So when I say cost price, there will be meaning buying price, there will be meaning market price, there will be meaning market price, as well as original price. As you remember, in the percentage, the original one is 100%. So by asking you for the buying price, for how much somebody bought a commodity or one bought a commodity, they're asking for 100%. And again, note the word profit. When one earns a profit, he has actually increased on his purchasing power. Therefore, it's like the percentage increase in example before, that is example number 3. So profit is applied like percentage increase because an increment onto one's buying price. Therefore, because profit is like an increment, we do like the example number 3. 100% plus 40% is equal to 140%. This is what he has obtained after the sale. And this is the selling price, which is 28,000 shillings. You do like we did before, we say 140% represents 28,000 shillings. What about 1%? 1% represents 28,000 shillings divided by 140. What about the original, which is 100%, or the one equivalent to the buying price? 100% represent 28,000 shillings out of 140 times 100 shillings. Then start the division. Wherever you are cancelling the zeros, you're actually dividing by 10. By 10, by 10. 14 divided by 10, by 14, you get ones. 28 divided by 10, you get 2. Divided by 14. I repeat the division. Wherever you're dividing or cancelling the zeros, you are dividing by 10. We say by 10, by 10. 14 divided by 14 is ones. 28 divided by 14 is a 2. 0 divided by 14 is a 0. And this is 0 divided by 14 is a 0. Thereby remaining with 200 times 100 and get 20,000 shillings. So 100% or the original cost price or the original amount to acquisition of this shirt represents 20,000 shillings. Therefore, she had bought this shirt at 20,000 shillings and sold it to another person at 28,000 shillings, thereby getting what's called a profit. Remember, wherever somebody sells at a higher amount than he bought a commodity, he gets what is called, earns what's called a profit. Profit is also called a gain. So when I say Jane got a gain, it's the same as Jane got a profit. So you buy at a less amount and you sell at a higher amount to get what is called a profit. So it is actually correct in the sense that somebody must buy at least amount to sell at a high amount to get a profit. And any businessman aims at profit making. That's how that number 4 is actually worked out. Then example number 5. Example number 5 reads, what amount of money can be decreased by 10% to become 81,000 shillings? It reads, what amount of money can be decreased by 10% to become 81,000 shillings? As you know, the original percentage is 100%. When we do anything, either increase or decrease, then we get something that's less. Now, the key word is decreasing. What is to decrease? To decrease is to reduce or to have a lessened value. So, being that 10% is actually percentage, we lessen or reduce from 100 to deviate from the original to get a duplicate one or a lower one. So, you reduce in terms of subtraction. We say 100% minus 10% is equal to 90%. Now, 90% is what it has become after decreasing. And they are saying it will become 81,000 shillings. What does it become again after the decrease? It is 90%. So these two results are equal. That's why we say 90% of the decrease represents the 81,000 that became, or this amount became after the decrease. We say 90% represents 81,000 shillings. Then 1% represents 81,000 divided by 90. You divide by 10 by 10. 9 divided by 9 once. 81 divided by 9. Oh, Jen? Good, it's 9. So 0 divided by 9 is a 0, and 0 divided by 9, get a 0. So 1% represents 900 shillings. 1% represents 900 shillings. Now the question, what amount of money can be decreased? Meaning the original amount is being questioned for. Therefore, get the original percentage, which is 100%, and see what it represents originally. That's before increase, before decrease. 100% represent 100 times 900 shillings. So 100% will represent 90,000 shillings. Therefore, it was 90,000 shillings before being reduced to 81,000 shillings by 10%. So this time round, the answer must be greater because it was not yet affected by the decrease. Therefore, the 90,000 shillings was reduced by 10% to become 81,000 shillings. So that's how that one's also got. The other kinds of working one can borrow or use to get this, but I've preferred to use that one today. Then go to example number 6. Number 6 reads, after the sale of a plot of land at 3,200,000 shillings, Magina got a loss of 20%. I read again. After the sale of a plot of land at 3,200,000 shillings, Magina got a loss of 20%. The question is, find how much Magina had bought this plot of land. Find how much Magina had bought this plot of land. Now, the word to look at is loss. When one gets a loss, it means they have sold that commodity, or the commodity he had bought before at a less amount. He had bought it at a high amount earlier, and now he has decided to sell it at a low amount. What factors lead to that? Somebody may have a problem which can only be solved by the sale, and now somebody buying can only offer that amount that's less than bought. So because of such a problem, somebody can decide to sell it off to solve the new problem that has come up. So, but now you are not advised to actually sell at a loss. But today, somebody sold at a loss. A loss is a decrease on the buying price. Because of such a description, a loss or a percentage loss is applied like percentage decrease. Hence, get the original percentage which is 100%, take away 20% because of the word loss, and get 80%. Remember the example before? That is number 4. Somebody got a profit. That one we increased. But now this one got or sold at a loss. That's why we reduce. Get 100% minus 20% and get 80%. This is the outcome after the sale. So it's like the selling percentage. So the selling percentage will be equaling to or represent the 3,200,000 shilling selling price. That's why we say 80% represents 3,200,000 shillings. 1% represents 3,200,000 shillings out of 80. We divide by 10 by 10. 8 divided by 8 once. 32 divided by 8 is a 4. 0 by 8 is a 0. Another 0, 0, 0, 0, and a 0, 0. So 1% represents 40,000 shillings. Now, find the buying price or the original price. We said original percentage is 100%. So we say 100% represents 40,000 times 100. So 100% represents 4 million shillings. This man, actually, this is a lady called Magina. Magina had bought this plot of land at 4 million shillings, selling it at 3,200,000 shillings, thereby incurring what's called a loss of 20%. It should be noted that when one buys highly and sells at a low amount like it is here, he or one gets what's called a loss. We have found out that he had bought or she had bought it at 4 million shillings and sold it at a less value of 3,200,000 shillings, thereby incurring what's called a loss. Please, it's not advisable to say at a loss like this Magina did. We have come to the end of the lesson today, or application of fractions. Teacher Katimbo, stay safe.